Hello students, welcome to CMS online classes, and this video is for class 7, chapter number 16. Name of the topic is water, a precious resources. So in our previous video we talked about different forms of water and different source of water, and in this session we will be discussing groundwater, uses and water cycle. Okay, so let's start with groundwater. So what do you mean by groundwater? As we discussed about surface water means those water which are on the surface of the earth, as for example rivers, lakes, ocean, sea. Okay, so these were all surface water. Even rainwater is also regarded as a surface water. And what do we understand by groundwater? So the groundwater has a large storage of water inside it. If we dig deeper and deeper below the earth, we will reach a level where all the space between particles of soil and gaps between rocks are filled with water. Okay. So the upper limit of layer is called the water table. That means what actually is groundwater is that when precipitation is there, that means rainfall occurs. Okay, the water which falls on the ground, some amount of water is captured or taken inside by the soil, okay, through different holes or different gaps. Okay, and they reach at a certain level we can say at the base of the rocks. Okay, they are stored. We can't, it's not that we are talking about the ocean water or sea water. We are talking about the groundwater. They are stored. Okay, and that is called the water table. That means the upper limit of layer is called the water table. Okay, below that water can't go. It is stopped by a solid slab of rocks, okay, which is deep inside our earth. And this water we can get it through tube wells, okay, or hand pumps, etc. So water table varies from place to place, and it may even change at a given place. So it's not that water table is similar or same at all the places in the earth. It's not that. It may change from place to place, okay, or at a given place also it can change. Okay, so let's move towards more explanation on groundwater. So there is a water table here, as we can see. Okay, and streams or lakes, that is surface water. And below the water table, okay, we have an aquifer. Okay, so all the water which is precipitated or through rainfall, when it enters the ground, it reaches at a certain level, that is called water table. And through hand pumps or through, when we dig a well, we will get a water. It can be of and this level of water, this level of the length can vary. Sometimes if we put a bore well for the hand pump, okay, we can get water at 15 feet also, or 20 feet or 30 feet or 40 feet also. So it can change. So this is only a image of a groundwater. Then we have another part, that is underground water or subsoil water. So groundwater is the water under the ground where the soil is completely filled or saturated with water. That means the soil is completely filled. It doesn't have any openings or any holes or any cracks. Okay, and rainwater seeps through topsoil and layer of the rocks like limestone, sand and gravel, okay, boulders also you can see, and gets collected on the top of non-porous layer. Non-porous layer means which don't have any pores, which don't have any holes in it. Okay, means at last we can say that when water seeps through the soil, it reaches at the depth where there is no pores or no holes or no cracks. Okay, and when that water goes down, it acts as a purifier through different sands, gravels, limestones. Okay, then we can say the mud, okay, or small granules that we can find in the soil. Okay. So the top level of this water, underground water, is called water table, as we have discussed and seen in the figure. So the top level of the underground water is called water table, and water table is the place from where we can pull out water through hand pumps or tube wells, and under that, okay, we can find purified water, that is aquifer, which act as a aquifer. Mean to say that it's not that when we get water while digging for a hand pump, we should just stop when we find a water. No, it will be good if we dig more till aquifer, so that we can get a fresh water or purified water. Okay, so this was all about groundwater and subsoil water. Okay, so here is a image that will make us understand about underground water and aquifer. So there is a layer of water, okay, and in the upper part it is unconfined aquifer, and on the lower part we have confined aquifer, and we have a water table at the uppermost end. Okay, so through transpiration, by vegetation and by evaporation, this water goes in the air. Okay, and the underground water can be obtained through tube wells or the hand pumps. Now we will move toward another part, dam. Okay, why we are discussing about dam? As we know, dams are mostly made for many multi-purpose, as for example to generate electricity. That's why in our first discussion we told that water is a natural resources. Okay, so if from water electricity can be generated by making dams, and it also help to control the flow of water. Okay, so when there is excess flow of water, when there is more melting of glaciers or more rainfall at the higher elevation, the amount of water can cause floods. So that can be controlled by the dams, and the required amount of water we can make them flow. Okay, that is mostly used for agriculture purposes, and the lower part is not affected by floods. Then we will move towards water cycle. So what do you mean by water cycle? That was discussed earlier, but let's have a talk here also. So we have a water on the right hand side, okay, and through the heat of the atmosphere, okay, what happens? Those water gets evaporated and forms a cloud after condensation. Not only through evaporation, through transpiration also water gets up in the air, and that water is stored and we can see it in a form of clouds. And when these clouds are moved towards the higher places, okay, then what happens? Due to the excess amount of water, they fall in the form of precipitation. Precipitation means rainfall. And if it is in the high elevation, even snowfall also can occurs. Okay, and that water is again comes through the rivers and gets into the oceans back again, and through groundwater also, after seeping through various layer of the earth. And this cycle keeps on going. Actually we can't see this cycle, but it is there. Okay, and it mostly occurs during the monsoon time or during the rainy season, and at other part of the years, okay, it is of negligible. Only in the air it is present. That's why we have dry season and wet season. Okay, so now we will move towards more explanation. That means the continuous circulation of water in the nature. Okay, that means the continuous circulation of water from the earth towards the atmosphere and back again is called water cycle. So we can say that the water from the ocean bodies, that is from the earth, when gets evaporated or transpirated through plants as well as through the heat of the sun, it gets accumulated in the air. Okay, then it forms a cloud. Again, if that is heated, it again comes down through the precipitation, and through rivers and through groundwater, the water bodies also get filled. That means the water that is present in the atmosphere or in the earth remains constant through this water cycle only. So there was a term of evaporation, condensation, precipitation, transpiration. So let's have a few idea about that. So what do you mean by evaporation? So the conversion of liquid to vapor is called evaporation. That means from liquid to gas is called evaporation. Condensation, the conversion of vapor to liquid is called condensation. That means formation of clouds is an example of condensation. Then precipitation. The term is quite difficult, but actually it is the falling down of water. We can say rainfall. In a simple word, we can say rainfall. Precipitation is mostly known as rainfall. So the falling down of the water from the cloud is called precipitation. Then we have transpiration. Transpiration means the loss of water through water vapor in plants. Mostly in plant is called transpiration. So evaporation, it is the conversion of liquid to vapor. Condensation, it is the conversion of vapor to liquid. Precipitation, falling down of the water, mostly regarded as rainfall. And transpiration, the loss of water through water vapor from the mostly plants, we can say trees also, is called transpiration. Okay, so the four important terms has been discussed. Now we will move towards use of water. So as we all know, mostly we use water for drinking. Okay, and only less than 1% is fit for human consumption. Okay, but apart from consumption, we need water for agriculture, domestic and industrial use also. Okay, in agriculture, we need water for the plants or for the agriculture plants like rice, wheat, okay, etc. Industrial need, we need water in industries also. As for example, for to make solvents, okay, or to make a solution, we need water. Then for cooling of the machines, we need water. Okay, to wash different types of raw materials, water is needed. And domestic need means bathing, drinking, washing, okay, etc. So here 70% of the water is used for agriculture, 20% is used for industries, and rest 8% are utilized for domestic use. Okay, so use of water we can broadly classify into 3 different uses. Another part, dam. Okay, why we are discussing about dam? As we know, dams are mostly made for many multi-purpose. As for example, to generate electricity. That's why in our first discussion we told that water is a natural resources. Okay, so if from water electricity can be generated by making dams, and it also help to control the flow of water. Okay, so when there is excess flow of water, when there is more melting of glaciers or more rainfall at the higher elevation, the amount of water can cause floods. So that can be controlled by the dams, and the required amount of water we can make them flow. Okay, that is mostly used for agriculture purposes, and the lower part is not affected by floods. Then we will move domestic use. What do you mean by domestic use? Domestic use are mostly what we use for our day-to-day activities. Like we use water for cooking. Without water, nothing can be cooked. Okay, nothing can be cleaned. Even for drinking also, we use water only. We use it for bathing. Okay, cleaning, washing, etc. So for those things, okay, it's not possible for us to go to rivers, okay, or water bodies. So in mostly in village area, this can be done through hand pumps or going to near streams or rivers. But in a city area, okay, the water is supplied by municipalities. Okay, that means they have some techniques or process by which they supply water at each and every houses. Okay, that we can say the PHE line or the water supply line. Okay, that means a big lake is made at the upper elevation and water is supplied to various households. Okay, then wells and bore wells can also be made, which help the common people to take water for domestic use. Okay, so here we have a simple plan of how municipality supplies water, and there is a sewage treatment. Okay, so what they will actually do, they just take the water from the wells or from the groundwater. Okay, and it is stored and purified by making a water tanks that is very nearer to the village area or the society. Okay, and then it is supplied to various households. Then when we use that water, we use for cleaning, bathing, and that water, the dirty water, again moves through the drain and through sewage treatment plant, it is again put into the river. Okay, after making it a what you can say, we can say after not purifying, after making it easy to flow. That means it's not that dirty water are thrown into the river or outflow. Okay, only the waste material like plastics and polythenes and most organic matters are removed in a sewage treatment plant. Only water is removed so that that water can again be utilized. Okay, then at last we have industrial use. Water as a industrial use. So what is used in industries as a raw material, okay, as a solvent and as a coolant, okay, for making electricity also. Okay, so water have many uses. Okay, to make a solvent, that means by dissolving anything in water. Okay, any chemicals or any materials in water, it is used in industries. Then for coolant, that means to cool the machines, water is mostly used. And for washing also, washing the raw materials, okay, water is used. As for example, in textile industries, it is used to wash cotton or wool. Okay, and then after that further process will take place. So water is very important in industries. So this was all about the use of water.